Hello, this is Jason with LMGI. We're going to continue with working and creating operation models in Solidedge 2019. Let's pick up where we left off. I'm going to open, for example, op 15, which is somewhere in the middle, and make some kind of a little change as you would. Possibly, I realize this needs to be dimensioned to be I don't know, oops, just 45 degrees, and maybe I needed a specific length. Actually, I probably should get it off the end. That 0.75. Okay, simple little edit. Finish. Save. Close it. Now, if I open up this op 30, notice that the next one in line, it goes 10, 15, 20, and 30. 15 because we inserted one earlier. I've kind of cleaned this up, so there's just these 4 operations right now. But if I open up 30, everything looks fine. It doesn't really notice that there's any changes because the previous operation hasn't actually changed. So if I do a drawing of this, we're going to go to New, Drawing of Active Model. And you'll end up with these nasty corner brackets, and they indicate a kind of a timestamp mismatch is a good way to think of it, or a synchronicity problem. You'll see it with assemblies too if you modify a part outside of the context of an assembly and then try to make a drawing of the assembly. This is a little bit related to that. There's a great tool, Drawing View Tracker, which will help us understand why that bracket is there. In this case, it's because we modified this operation 15, and step 1, it tells us what to do. We need to make sure we have right access to 20 and 30. Op 20 and 30 both need to be, so it says open 20 and then open 30. And that will fix that problem. You can actually just, if you had a whole series of operations, I don't think you would typically have too many, but you could just go and open them all. You just need to get them open in Solidedge. So even if I just did a multiple select, I think in reality there might not be too many operations for any one part, but you could do as many as you want. You could certainly open them one at a time and digest each, each change. But there's my 10. There's my 15. And then the 20, we should get, you should see that recompute. You might have just seen it blink by over here. We set that to automatically update. And then there's 30. We'll again recompute, though in this case it really doesn't, that change doesn't impact this operation because it's all machined away, but that's neither here nor there. And then the drawing is not going to have the brackets anymore. It'll just have the gray box indicating the drawing views out of date, and you just update the views. So that's why you get the brackets. It's because it sees the linkages between models and finds that an earlier part was modified out of context, or it's got a newer timestamp, so the subsequent operations need to update. So let's just go ahead, and I'm going to close that now. I think I like to usually start with the last operation. So 10, we'll close 10, we'll close 15, and we'll close 20 and make sure we save if anything gets dirty. So then starting from the last operation, if you go to your data management tab, remember earlier we used the edit links. That's a way that you can change the link to point to a different previous operation if you have to insert an operation. But the property manager is a great way. And if you open the last operation, it finds its way back to all the previous operations. In this case, I've gone ahead and gone to the columns, and I've turned on my title and moved my file name up. So here's file name. Let's say I want to populate my titles with something like that. I don't know. Maybe this is this probably isn't a great application for a document number, but that's okay. I just want to populate it with something to show you, you know, mostly so you can see the workflow. And I might want Rev A and all of those, so project name, whatever you want to populate. And this is just property data. And I think that probably looks good. We'll just hit OK. And that should be all pushed into all of those files now. And that looks pretty good. And Design Manager as well, if you start with the last model in the chain is kind of a good way. Usually start with the drawing, and then that will find everything under it. In this case, it's kind of working backwards. So if we expand all, we'll see all of our operations, and you could go ahead and change the you could change your property information here. You could rename them. You could move them. Of course, it's a good idea to only have to not have any documents open in Solidedge while you're in Design Manager. And it actually will close the document in Solidedge. So you don't want to have more than one operation open because you might have a file blocking issue when you go try to rename multiple files. So just keep that in mind. Try to just have, you know, Solidedge closed of all files. It's kind of good. So let's go make a drawing of, let's say, maybe the first operation. So you could do new ANSI draft, and then you could use the wizard, and you pick your operation. I'll show you in a couple of minutes that there's another way. Actually, why don't I just do it? So that's one way. That's probably the classic way to make multiple views. But then another great way is just if you have the model open, you go to new drawing of active model, and if I don't run the wizard, it will automatically create 3 orthographic views that are scaled as best it can for that sheet size, which is the default. And I might use a principal views command and add a shaded view. Stick with me. This probably seems old hat, kind of boring, but there's some cool features I want to show you. I'm going to multiple select. I'm going to hold the control key down and pick multiple views. Then I'm going to use my edit properties here. Actually, why don't I do them all? And there's a couple things I want to do. I want to say retrieve dimensions on next update, and you'll see the magic of that. And then in display, I'd like to show in other geometry, so I choose all, and I'm going to go, and this is my finished body, if you recall. If I want that to show, and I want it to be a reference style. And we'll hit OK, update the views. That looks pretty good. This is also an opportunity to show you sometimes you get a little, you get what looks like a flaw where it's not showing you all the object lines. Solidedge has quite a few things to help with performance, and that's a result of one of those settings. Because there's a body lying on, there's kind of like a part inside of a part, it's interfering edges. They try to avoid any unnecessary time-consuming operation. So this is one that we kind of need to turn off. So in essence, if you ever have object lines or hidden lines that don't look correct, come in here to your advanced settings and examine, maybe learn in the help, but that's your how to find it. When something doesn't look right in one of your views, it's most certainly related to that. So the style, we go to our line style, we'll say styles in use, hidden reference, let's modify that, general, let's make the color like a gray, okay, apply. So they're a nice faint phantom of the underlying finished part, and we've got automatic dimension retrieval. So that's all very cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead and save this. It picks up the name of the file. And so now I have more drawings to create. You know, there's one more thing we should talk about. Title block. I just noticed it. I'm going to right click, edit the background. What I really want is to have the title from the part. What we're seeing now is the title from the draft document. So I'm going to go into property text and say indexed reference is kind of agnostic. It's model agnostic. It doesn't matter what the model is. So we're going to go title. Okay, okay. And we'll do it with the rev as well, just to be redundant. You can actually type these in if you get to know them. So that would be a pipe R1 referring to the first model on this drawing. So there, our title block is better, and you can do as much as you want there. And double click my middle button. So the thumbnail is all nice when I save it. So that's all saved. Now we're going to turn this into a template. It's really cool. There's actually a Quicksheet, and Command Finder can help you find things. I'd like to always mention that, but take a look for your Quicksheet template. So what this is going to do, it's warning me that if I haven't saved this file, it is going to strip the model away and leave the views, but I did just save it, so that's cool. So I'm going to save it into my template folder. I'm going to make a folder, tap handle, and I'll call it QS1. So there, my template is done. And then actually, let's see, where used. So yeah, so where used is going to finds my drawing, and also that the next operation is used by this. So the next operation kind of consumes this. So this is kind of interesting. I just thought I'd kind of mention that. So I can open the next operation. Instead of, I could certainly just do file open, but this is a good way to do it. And then we open, or new drawing from active model. And we're going to browse out to our tap handle, QS. And did not get my, let me go check my template. Let me just close this. I think I maybe didn't follow through. So there's my QS template. Let's go and make sure the properties are set. So yeah, you can change these templates after. So retrieve dimensions on next update. apply, okay, save, and so then new drawing of active model, and we should see our auto retrieved dimensions. So very, very fast, very productive, great way to very quickly make drawings. So I'll just go ahead and save that. And open my, maybe I'll do one more. We'll grab the last operation. Actually, why don't I show you even a different way to make a drawing. So we'll do new, yet another way to make a drawing. We'll do, I'm going to go right to the new dialog, and you see there's my tap handle, there's my QS, hit OK. Then we can go to our library. If you're not sitting on the home, you can hit the little home button, and you just simply take op30 and you drag it in, and it's going to populate that and retrieve your dimensions. So very cool. Operation models in Solidedge.